How's it going, guys? It's Juan or Sale from Thrashin Supply, and this is my 2022 Road Glide Standard. I bought it in 21 right before Sturgis, and we started to dial it in, and I've ridden it to Sturgis twice since. It's got about 8,500 miles. I wanted to go with the color black on this Road Glide because that's my favorite color. My dyno's black, so that was a given for me. And I wanted to go with Standard. This is a Road Glide Standard just because it's the base model. It's the cheapest offering to get into a Road Glide. I knew I was going to do a lot of stuff to it, bars, risers, exhaust, and like dial it into my liking. So I just wanted to get like a blank slate Standard and then dial it in from there. The Standard comes with the 107, which is the smallest M8 motor. I knew it was going to need a little bit of a bump in power, but I got this bike for long trips and cruising, and we're all going 80 miles an hour, we're all going 80, so there we don't really notice a difference. It'll cruise 90, 100, no problem. The only time I do notice a difference between the new CVO, Lance's CVO, is when we're going to pass a car. They get to just hit the throttle and get around it. I have to drop a gear, maybe two, but also that's something that could be remedied. I talked to the boys at Fueling, and they're going to get me set up with a cam and oiling system, so I think I'm going to have plenty of power once that's in. Quickest things that we were able to do was an intake from my buddies at Vance & Hines, the Tuna 1 exhaust, and the fuel pack tuner. That made a noticeable difference. It helped me keep up with the guys in passing and stuff, and it made it sound a lot cooler. I'm really stoked with that, but I'm also looking forward to getting my cam, having that low P idle, and having a little more power. Right off the lot, first things that I wanted to take care of were the bars. The stock setup is just really, not really tall, but it's just not very comfortable. I don't like that it's rubber mounted, so the bushings kind of give you a lot of squish, and it made me feel like uncomfortable and not really in control. I had ridden Lance's CVO, and I had an idea of what direction I wanted to go with. I ended up going with our 9.5 pullback risers. That brought me a little bit closer. The mid-bend bars, they were perfect height for me. On Lance's bike, it was a little bit taller because he had the high bend. So I went with the mid-bends. Obviously, I went with our gauge relocation setup because it allows you to put the gauges in the sweet spot. It has a lot of adjustability, and for me, I'm about 5'7", 5'8". I'm able to put the gauges right above the risers, but right below the navigation, so I could see everything perfectly, and that's basically why I wanted to go with that setup. To finish up the controls, I went with our perch clamps. You actually need these on this bike because the stock ones don't work with aftermarket bars. And lastly, I went with the Thrashin grips. These are something we're super proud of. It was one of the first projects I started here. It was kind of Lance's idea. We went through a lot of iterations, and I'm stoked with how it feels in terms of like the squish, design, and the pattern of it. We're super stoked on it, and yeah, I love riding with those. I ended up going with the Saddleman seat. It has a lot more support in the back. It's the step up. I like the comfort on it. It's pretty soft and squishy, and as you guys saw, I was able to ride 1,000 miles in one day. It was like 15 hours, no issues. So yeah, this is my go-to over the stock one. The stock one was just too soft. It didn't have enough back support. It was a no-brainer to swap that one out. And to finalize the cockpit with foot controls, I went with our Apex floorboards. We went with a 1-inch extension. I like the design of the cutouts myself. It's a little bit smaller. Again, I really like that. It's got the scrape plate. We hit the canyons a lot because they're local to us, and whenever we go on long trips, we usually try to take the canyons or the twisty roads. So a little bit more ground clearance. The kick plate also gives you a little bit more room to put your foot back there, and it's really grippy. So I'm really stoked on those. That's why I went with that setup. And for the passenger pegs, I went with our P54s. Those match the Apex with the cutouts, and they're really grippy. So I wanted to throw those on here, and they're pretty dialed. I went with a 1-inch shorter brake arm in the lower position. The stock one is just so weird pointed up for me in my height. It just didn't work. So this works really well. I'm able to bring it down close to the floorboard, and I don't have to pick my foot up to use it. I love that setup. Over on the other side of the bike, for the shift arm, I went with a 1-inch shorter shift arm. Again, that just fits me for my size. Running the prototype P54 shift peg. It's actually still not the production one. I'll end up swapping it out later, but I just like testing as much as I can. I'm using the Easy Shift for our inner shift arm. It really helps find neutral. It makes shifting significantly easier for me on this bike, and I like how it looks. And then to complete the look on that side, I'm running the adjustable shift linkage. It really allows you to dial in the position. I'm super stoked with the precision you get out of that thing. Kind of just completes the look of the bike. All these upgrades really tailor the bike to me. Makes the bike feel really comfortable, nimble, precise, and it was a 3 points of contact, so that's what we focused in on first. So the the stock suspension, I just wasn't a big fan of. The front was a little too soft. Whenever you use the brake, you would get a lot of dive. And then the back, I feel like I would just go through a lot of the travel really quick on bumps and stuff. So our boys over at Legends dialed me in with the front cartridge setup and then the rear piggyback shocks. Those are really sweet. Highly recommend those on long road trips. It's definitely a game changer. So aside from hard parts, I also wanted to personalize the bike a little bit, kind of to what I like in style. So I went ahead and added this chin spoiler, changed the crash bar to do that. I think this one looks a lot cooler. It's on the nicer bikes, like on the CVO and the Specials. So I was able to throw that on and I went with that chin spoiler. I also blacked out the turn signals. Stoked on how that looks. The bike is always like a work in progress. There's a couple more things that I want to do to the back. I want to get rid of the mullet. Actually, when I was riding with the boys from Fueling, I saw that they relocated their cartridges to the back here. So I'll probably remove the mullet and relocate those to the back. It looks really clean. And everyone keeps trolling me about the reflector. I'll probably get rid of that in the near future, but stay tuned for that. I know a lot of the guys here at Thrashin, like Lance and Jake, give me crap about the black and chrome, but I'm a really traditional guy. I like the colors. I think the black and chrome contrast looks really good, and that's why my bike's set up that way. My Dyna's going in that direction too. All right, guys, well, that's enough talking. Let's go hit the road so you can see this thing rolling. All right, guys, so there you have it. Just finished ripping the Road Glide in the canyons. I had a blast. I think I answered all you guys' questions, but if I didn't, leave it in the comment down below and we'll do our best to answer it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you later.